Good morning, everybody, and Happy New Year. This is Joelle Simone Anthony, also known as the Grave Woman, and welcome to 2019, you guys. We made it. If you are watching this video, I just want to say thank you so much for subscribing, for following, for commenting, and for submitting your questions, and for just showing my channel support. I really appreciate it, and you are the reason that I take the time and invest the energy into making these videos. So I just want to say congratulations. We have made it to 2019. Now let's get this video started. So about a month ago, I did a collaboration with Miss Lauren Leroy, aka Little Miss Funeral, and since that time I've gotten lots of questions about my self-care routine, and basically people asking, you know, how is it that you can work with the deceased and not be stressed out, depressed, or sad? And I think that my self-care routine has a lot to do with it. And before I get started, I just want to say these are things that work for me. I'm not saying this for you to go out and try to do these things or to try to convince you that these things are going to work for you, but I am sharing what's worked for me. The first thing that really helps me make it through the day is water. I love water, and depending on what you believe about water, my personal belief stems and derives from Christianity. And if you read the Bible, water is one thing that I don't think God initially created. Water is something that God actually moved upon to be able to create. If you read the first verse of the Bible, it says, in the beginning, something, 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 and the Spirit of the Lord moved upon the water. So the water was already here, and God used the water to be able to create the world around us. So I think water is really important. Not only because it's good for our bodies, water is good for your mind. So this is like a must-have for me on a daily basis, and I consider it a part of my self-care, because when I don't drink water, I really feel horrible. After if I have a headache, if I'm tired, if I'm exhausted, I can take a few sips of water and do a complete 180 in just a few moments after letting the water kind of sit for a second. One thing that I do with my water is that I bless my water. I don't know if you guys have heard of the experiment where the Japanese guy took rice and water and put it into different containers and spoke positive words like "I love you" to one bowl, then to another bowl with water in it. He said something like, "You're ugly, you're fat, I hate you." And then the third bowl of water or container of water, he just completely ignored. Well, the water that he spoke positive things to, the molecules in the water formed beautiful shapes. The molecules formed beautifully. The water that he spoke negatively to, the molecules were all shattered and broken and ragged and just really, you know, unattractive aesthetically. And the third bowl or container that he just ignored, it did the same thing that the water did that was ignored. It just kind of, the particles and the molecules in the water just really didn't have the same aesthetic beauty that the molecules of the positive water had. So when I fix myself a glass of water or a container of water, because a lot of times I'm on the go, while I'm pouring the water or cutting the fruit or lemons and limes or whatever I put in the water, I say something like, you know, this water enters my body and it cleanses me mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. Or when I drink this water, I'm energized. Or this water is replacing and replenishing something inside of me that is being taken away through either sweat or just daily motion in life. So water is my number one go-to and something that I consider to be very important in my self-care routine. One more thing that I want to mention about water is something that I learned from a person who had commented on the video that Lauren and I did together. I'm sorry, I don't want to mess your name up, so let me go ahead and take a second and look it up. Spirit Medium Clayton. And what he recommended in the video when we were talking about self-care and ways to decompress and just remain sane, was using water as a cleansing tool during shower time. And he suggested that during shower time, allowing the water to just flow over your body and say, okay, it's washing away any stress, any negative energy, and just anything negative that I don't want to carry any further in the day. And since I've been doing that, I really can honestly say that I feel better. So thank you so much for that tip. And I hope that I understood what you were saying correctly. And I just wanted to let you know that it has been working for me. So thank you so much for sharing that. Second aspect of my self-care routine is a little bit cheesy, but it works for me. And that is writing things down and journaling. My mind moves at 100 miles per minute when I'm at work, when I'm in the funeral home, and when I'm just in my personal life. So if I don't write things down a lot of times, I won't remember them. I have several journals, but these are two of my absolute favorites. This was a gift from me last Christmas from my little sister, and to me, this just looks like a journal that I would want to put my secrets into. It's, it just looks fancy, and I write a lot of my prayers and desires and thoughts that are more personal in this particular journal, which is another part of my self-care routine, which is prayer. I am constantly talking to God, my creator, the universe, the ultimate source, just asking for guidance and direction and clarity on how to handle situations when working with grieving families, or patience, or just a loving and open heart. I'm constantly talking to and listening for God. So that's a really, really huge part of my self-care. And maybe that would be number one, even ahead of water, because God is our source, or that's my belief. This second journal is another one of my favorites. And again, I have several, but it says, live your dream. And to be honest, sitting here on YouTube and talking to you guys is something that I wrote, thought, and dreamed about for years. And it's actually written in this journal several places. So I just really believe in the power of writing things down and manifesting through taking possession of writing down your thoughts, your dreams, and also just keeping track of life. Because if I don't have this, or calendars, which are another big part of my self-care, managing my calendar, I would be probably a basket case. Another tool that I use to relax and kind of just keep calm, and when I'm feeling stressed out, I'll come home and do this, and I have the fan on, so it's taking a little bit longer to light this than I would like for it to, but it's sage. And sage is believed to have the ability to clear out negative energy. So if I've had a really rough day working with a family, or if I've had a bad day at the hospital working with doctors, or if I'm just in a bad mood, or let's say, I have a disagreement with someone, or my boyfriend and I get into an argument, or if I'm just, I could be PMSing and having a bad day. Sage is a tool that I use to kind of just clear the energy around me. And to be honest, when I first learned about sage, I was afraid to use it because I wasn't sure how it aligned with the things that I had been taught spiritually and religiously growing up. And it took me a long time to become comfortable using sage, because that was something that I thought, witches did, or, that conflicted with what I had learned as a Christian. And since that time, I've kind of woken up to my own personal spiritual beliefs and started exploring and learning about different tools that were used for different sacred spiritual reasons. And sage was one of them. So what I'll do is I'll light a wand of sage similar to, or this exact, wand, and I'll do what's called smudging. You can research that on your own, but what I find is that once I've smudged my area, my workspace, my home, my car, wherever I am, it seems like the energy just neutralizes and is 100% positive. Another thing that I've done with sage is actually gone in prior to a funeral and sage maybe the chapel of the funeral home. And when doing that, I've always done it a couple of hours before, because sage has a smell that lingers that isn't pleasant for everyone, but particularly for families that I think are extremely distraught, even though all families are distraught for the most part when someone passes away. For families that are extremely distraught, whether it be a child that passed away or like a tragic or violent event that's taken the life of someone, I go in and I kind of sage just to try to get the energy to be as neutral as it can for the family that's coming in. And I've actually had people that have recognized without me telling them or them seeing me that they've appreciated that I've done that, because they've, you know, told me that they've used sage themselves. So that's something else I'll do. And also I've used sage in the embalming room prior to embalming, or actually coming in physical contact with the bodies with my hands, particularly in violent cases, because even though I believe the spirit of the individual has gone on to wherever it's gone, there is an energy that lingers sometimes, particularly in violent or extremely tragic cases. So those are two things that I have done with sage in the funeral home. Also, I wanted to talk a little bit about the significance that sage has in funeral service. And I'd like to ask a question. I'm not Catholic, but I'd like to know, is this what's in the, I'm sorry, I don't know what they're called at the moment, but what's used in Catholic masses when they're walking down the aisles, is it sage? It smells like sage to me, but I've never, you know, asked, but I've always been curious. I know Native Americans and a lot of African and Asian cultures use sage when someone passes away to to free the spirit and to just clear the energy when there's a dead body present from evil spirits. So sage has some really, really interesting, I said I'm going to quit saying interesting because that's like my favorite word. It has some very significant, a very strong significance in funeral service as well. So research your sage, and if it's something that you feel may help you and help you become grounded, even more importantly, check it out and try it out, okay? Something that goes hand in hand with sage is incense for me. I love the smell of incense. This particular incense that I have burning right now is lemongrass, but incense to me works similarly to sage. I love the musk and the scent of the incense, and I love what the different scents can do to a space as far as aromatherapy are concerned. I'm really into aromatherapy and essential oils. I'm going to do a completely separate video about essential oils because I have a lot that I'd like to share concerning them. But sage and incense are a must for me. I go through tons of sage and tons of incense. So those are two tools that I use to kind of relax and decompress after a long day. Now the next and the final thing that I want to get into that helps me are crystals. And I don't have a huge selection of crystals because I'm very particular about the crystals that I bring into my home, into my space, and that I wear on my body. But I absolutely love crystals. I've been collecting rocks my entire life, and I didn't understand that these rocks and these, you know, formations were actually forms of energy and could be used to do different things with energy. And one of my favorite crystals, actually my favorite crystal, is this block of amethyst that I got in Tennessee. And in order to be as accurate as possible, I'm going to refer to this book called The Crystal Bible, which I absolutely love and use whenever I come across a new crystal or rock that I'm not familiar with. So I want to read what it is that amethyst does. Now, crystals have been used for millennia to heal and bring balance. They work through resonance, and vibration. To gain maximum benefit from crystal healing, you need to be properly trained or treated by someone who is well qualified and experienced. But if you can't find, but you can find benefits in crystals for common ailments, and they are effective first aid remedies, especially when made into gem essences. Now, I'm gonna be honest. No one's ever trained me on crystals, and I've honestly never sought the training of someone. I just know how I feel when I come in contact with certain rocks and certain crystals and certain mineral deposits, which I guess are crystals. So if crystals are something new to you, then if you want, I would seek training. But I'm of the belief you know how you feel when you come in contact with something. For example, I just put this in my lap, and my whole entire body just feels calm and cool and just really relaxed right now. So I'm gonna flip to the back and read a little bit about amethyst and tell you what this book says that it's for. So amethyst's color is purple or lavender, which this one is, and its appearance is transparent, pointed crystals, may be geode, cluster, or single point, and it comes in all sizes. Its source is the United States, Canada, Brazil, Mexico, Russia, Sri Lanka, Uganda, East Africa, Siberia, and India. And for healing, amethyst boosts the production of hormones and tunes to the endocrine system and metabolism. It strengthens the cleansing and eliminating organs and the immune system. And I'm gonna tell you, I said I put this in my lap and my body felt really cool and calm and relaxed. I have issues sometimes with digestion, and this is going to be kind of gross, but after I kind of sit with this crystal sometimes, I always go to the bathroom. So I can literally attest to what this is saying. I think that crystals are just an amazing tool, regardless of which ones work for which reasons. I just think the ability to kind of sit and focus and meditate with a crystal has benefits that are just inexplainable. Another thing that amethyst is wonderful for is sleep. Now, sometimes, you know, your schedule is all over the place. You don't know when you're going to have a night at home all the time or a full night's sleep. And I developed a little bit of insomnia. So what I would do before going to bed was spend some time meditating, which is another very extremely important part of my self-care routine. Meditating in whatever form that you do it is extremely important. So that's another step. But I would take time and meditate with this crystal. Sometimes I would put it on my chest like this. Other times I would lay it on my forehead, and it's kind of heavy, so if you do this, be careful. And just kind of meditate and visualize whatever I would visualize at the moment. And before you know it, I would be getting sleepy. So of course I would remove it from my head so that I wouldn't roll over on it or hurt myself or, you know, have a mark on my head. And before you know it, I'd be fast asleep. So that's another very powerful influence that this amethyst crystal has. Like I said, I don't have many crystals. These are the remaining crystals in my collection, and I think you guys have also seen in videos where I've worn an amethyst necklace. That actually was given to me by a close friend and came from Alaska, which holds a very special place in my heart. I hope to go there one day. I actually am going to be going there soon. So and when I wear that particular crystal, it's almost like a burst of energy. It's a relaxing energy, but it's a burst of energy. And I've always wondered if that it feels a lot stronger because I'm wearing it closer to my heart. I don't know. Maybe that's it. For all of you crystal gurus out there, let me know what you think and what may cause that. But out of my collection, one of the other stones that I really feel connected to is this jasper stone, and it's it's not a deep red jasper. Jasper comes in several different colors, greens, blues, oranges. This one looks like it has a little bit of quartz mixed up into it. But this one, whenever I kind of hold on to this and spend time with this crystal, I feel as if it decreases my stress levels. And when I read up on it in the Crystal Bible, it says that it does in fact, help manage stress levels. And I thought that was very interesting because I actually had this stone before I had the book, but I always felt as if when I held it, it decreased my stress levels. And again, I told you guys I'm very careful about the stones that I allow into my space. I feel like the stones pick me. I don't necessarily pick the stones. And I think I know where I got this one. I got this one in North Carolina from the little chain of islands that's on the coast of North Carolina. I can't remember the name of them right now, but a very close friend of mine and I were out, walking along the houses next to the beach, and we noticed that there were all of these stones, and this one just stood out to me. And again, jasper also helps with digestion, which is an issue that I suffer with. Enjoy them. One of my other crystals that you probably saw a second ago was this selenite. I think that's what you call this, selenite piece. And this is actually a incense holder, but this one is supposed to help a lot with dream work and helps you connect with angels. But I just know when I burn my incense on this, the entire atmosphere just has a really light and easy feeling. So another thing that really helps me out is burning candles. Candles are so relaxing to me, and I've recently become very attracted to candles that have nice sayings on them. Now, this was actually a Christmas gift from my grandmother, and to give you guys a little bit of background, I declared 2018 the year of joy for myself. And when I opened this, my eyes kind of welled up because I opened this on Christmas Day and it says on it, filled with joy. And I feel like that was maybe a sign from God in the universe that I had accomplished the goal of being just joyful for the year 2018. So burning candles is very important to me. Not only does it relax me, but again, I'm really into aromatherapy. So the smell of the candle has an influence on my mental health. It can relax me, it can energize me, it can help me sleep. Just a number of things depending on the scents of the oils and other things that are put into the candles. Candles are also used in funeral service. A lot of times you'll see them in Catholic services, or you'll see candles put out at vigils when someone has passed away, because they almost represent the eternal flame of the spirit. And when the candle runs out, it's almost representing, life may have ended, but this flame, though it's not here any longer, is eternal because it represents the spirit. Not only do they represent, the spirit, they're just beautiful. Have you ever seen candles, just hundreds of candles just lit? Like, it's amazing, it's beautiful, and I just love candles. The final part of my self-care routine that I'm going to discuss today, other than my connection with God and spirit, is love. I do my best to surround myself and give as much love as possible, whether that be through spending time with my family and friends, or pouring my heart 100% into each and everything that I do, and trying to just be the best person that I can be every single day. Love is so important to me. And when I say love, love can have millions of definitions. But what I mean by love is just fully and honestly expressing myself in ways that make me feel good, but also have a positive impact on those around me as it pertains to me giving love. Whether it be being a shoulder for someone to cry on, listening to someone who's had a horrible day, being there, in whatever way I can for those that I care about, and even strangers to a certain extent, and surrounding myself with people who have my best interest at heart and who I know want and expect the best from me, but will also correct me and give me constructive criticism and guidance if need be. I hope you guys have enjoyed learning a little bit more about me and my self-care routine. If you'd like to see a specific video or want to further discuss anything that I've covered today, let me know. And please also stay tuned later on where I'll get into other aspects of my self-care routine. My name is Joelle Simone Anthony. I'm also known as the Grave Woman. Please be sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel, like, share, and comment on this video. Also, please be sure to check out my website, www.thegravewoman.com. Live life, love hard, and I'll talk to you next time.